Good morning. Welcome once again to Sunday School with New Life Church of Orlando. We are located at 3311 North Powers Drive in Orlando, Florida. Bishop Derek W. Hutchins is our pastor. I'm Ruthie Warren. Today is Sunday, January 30th, 2022. And our lesson today is Jesus' arrest. And we know the story. We know where we are. We've been to the upper room. And now we're at the Garden of Gethsemane. Jesus has prayed for his disciples and given them back to the Father that he would keep them, protect them, because he's going away. He's about to be crucified and go back to his home in glory. Our lesson is coming from the book of St. John, chapter 18, verses 1 through 13. So let's see what this lesson is about today. We're talking about a traitor, and we know who the traitor is. The traitor is Judas, of course. And so I ask you the question, have you ever felt betrayed? Was it by a friend or a foe? How did you feel? So let's take a glimpse and see how Jesus might have felt. Of course, he identified his traitor, but let's see how the scene plays out. We have three outlines. Outline number one, treachery in the Garden of Gethsemane. And then outline number two, demonstration of power. What power are you talking about, teacher? Outline number three, acceptance of the Father's will. Let's read outline one, verses 1 through 3, treachery, treason in the garden. When Jesus had spoken these words, he went forth with the disciples over the brook Cedron, where was a garden, into which he entered, and his disciples. So the disciples are with him. And Judas also, the traitor, which betrayed him, knew the place. Judas knew where they were going. For Jesus oftentimes resorted thither with his disciples. So it was just in Judas' mind, if I want to find Jesus, I most certainly might find him in the Garden of Gethsemane. Verse 3, Judas then, having received a band of men and officers from the chief priests and Pharisees, cometh thither with lanterns and torches and weapons. Lantern, torches, and weapons. He proceeds to the Garden of Gethsemane, expecting to find Jesus. Verse 4, Jesus therefore, knowing all things that should come upon him, went forth and said unto them, whom seek ye? Treachery. Now listen, the Pharisees and the Sadducees combined their forces to exercise this exploit. And of course, Judas is in the very midst of the plotting. So Jesus approaches them and said, whom seek you? You're all out here and you've got your weapons. I would imagine if it was today's time, we'd say you have your guns and your batons. Who did you come for? Outline number two, demonstration of power, verses 4 through 9. Now we see we've got the Pharisees and the Sadducees and all of those who are coming for battle are here at Jesus' forefront. Verse number 5, they answered him, Jesus of Nazareth. That's who we're looking for. Jesus said unto them, listen. I am he. And Judas also, which betrayed him, stood with them. No, not ashamed, standing with the enemy, if you will. Verse number 6, As soon then as he had said unto them, I am he. Hallelujah. They went backwards and fell to the ground. Listen, there's power in the words of Jesus. I am. Can you remember? The first time we heard that was in the book of Exodus with Moses, when he said, Lord, who shall I tell them sent me? And God said to Moses, tell him that I am sent thee. I am that I am. I am what you need me to be. I am what you want me to be. I am more than what you can even imagine. The power of the I am. Saints, use I am in your discourse, referring to Jesus. Verse number 7. Then answered he them again, second time, whom seek ye? And they said, Jesus of Nazareth. They're not envisioning the great I am or the divinity of Jesus. They're looking at the natural man, Mary's baby, Jesus of Nazareth. Verse number 8, Jesus answered, listen to the tone. I have told you that I'm he. What more do you expect? I told you that I am he. If therefore you seek me, then come get me. Let my friends here go. Let my disciples go. Let these go their way. You came for me. Here I am. I'm not opposing you. Verse number 9, that the saying might be fulfilled, which he spake, of them which thou gavest me have I lost none. Let my disciples go. And I'm put a pin right there because we're going to watch Peter and listen to Jesus' words here. You came for me, here I am. I resist you not. So what are you waiting on? The power of the I am. When Jesus spoke to them and said, I am he, the enemy fell backwards to the ground. Just the power of his voice. Just the realization that the divinity was in the house. Now listen. In the original script, the he is not there. It just says, I am. But in the King James translation, he was added. I am he. I am he whom you seek. Then Jesus said, let them go, that it be fulfilled that none that I have is lost. Well, we know that Judas is lost. He is lost from the brotherhood. He is lost from the redemption. But Jesus said, I have lost none because Judas was not with them in the first place. Put a pin right there because I have a point a little later on. Even though Judas had traveled with Jesus for the past 3 years and pretended to be his friend, he was not one of them. So all those whom the Father had given to Jesus, to this point he has lost none. Let my disciples go so that the scripture is fulfilled. I have lost none. Let's go on to outline number 3. Acceptance. Accepting. Taking ownership to the Father's will. Verses 10 through 13. So, listen. Then Peter, Simon Peter, having a sword, drew it and smote the high priest's servant and cut off his ear. The servant's name was Malchus. Peter, impetuous Peter. You remember him. Strong-willed Peter. Now devoted to Jesus, defending him. But did Jesus need offending? Verse number 11. Then said Jesus unto Peter, put up thy sword. Put it back in your sheath. The cup which my Father hath given me, shall I not drink it, Peter? Do you want me to forego my assignment? My assignment is for the redemption of mankind. I must travel this path. I must complete this journey. Nevertheless, Peter, I must drink of this cup. I must drink of this cup that your salvation is assured. Verse number 12. Then the band and the captain and officers of the Jews took Jesus and bound him. Now, why did they need to bind him? He's freely submitting to their arrest. So why do they need to bind him? But they did. They bound him. Verse 13. And led him away to Annas first. To Annas. For he was father-in-law to Caiaphas, which was the high priest that same year. Now, Annas was the high priest previously, but now he's been superseded. They didn't take Jesus directly to Caiaphas. They took him to Annas first. Good lesson, good points of view. A traitor in the house. How would you feel? Let's go ahead and conclude this lesson. There are so many points here. In conclusion, let's see what it says today. Fact, to know that Jesus was never guilty of any sin or wrongdoing. Yet he was arrested when Judas Iscariot betrayed him. Betrayal and sentenced. Principle, to recognize that Jesus willingly bore our sin, and to note that he understands the pain that betrayal brings. So, saints, don't think it's strange when your friends and your enemies come against you. Application, to always stand for Christ, even if it's unpopular with those closest to us. Even if it's impossible. No, I won't do this today. I'm a saved, I'm a saint, I'm a disciple. To stand up for Jesus. Listen, stand up, show up, speak up, and live up for Jesus. One way to identify with him is to proclaim his name, even when our friends or the world does not extort his name. We will exhort his name forever. A traitor's true color will stand out eventually. The traitor, something will give him away eventually. If we're going to be true disciples of Christ, then we must stand with him, no matter who is against him or no matter who is against us. This may make you unpopular when you make a stand, and sometimes put you in danger. But those who love Jesus will never abandon him under any circumstances. Jesus' concern for the welfare of his disciples is a great example to us and for us. Do you see in this lesson how Jesus stood up for the disciples? Let them go. Take me. I'm the one you seek. I am he whom you seek. We think our cross is hard. We think our burdens are heavy to bear. We think our betrayal is hard to hear. David said in Psalms 55:12, listen, for it was not an enemy that reproached me. Then I could have borne it, but it was my friends, those who were in the house of the Lord with me, saints. So think it not strange. He was, in fact, an enemy. Judas was, in fact, an enemy. And he stood with the enemy because he pretended to be a friend, which made him thus a traitor. Imagine Judas walking with Jesus for 3 long years, hiding his true identity of who he really was. He was not a believer. He was, in fact, the enemy. He witnessed Jesus' miracles and listened to the same teachings as the other disciples. but a traitor who showed his true colors in the end. Listen, 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 listen. The power of Satan, the devil, to deceive us continues today, continues to the saints. Saints, the power of Satan is real. The enemy is real. Don't take it lightly. Saints, watch as well as pray, that your faith fails not, that when you have done all you can do to stand for right and righteousness, then just stand. Stand. The Jews were so fixated. Listen, listen. The Jews were so fixated on Jesus' death that they violated their own Jewish laws. And I want you to hear this. What did they violate? I'm going back to the book of Exodus. Exodus 20 and 13. Thou shalt not kill. But these are the Jews. They had the law. They're violating their own laws. Exodus 20:16. Thou shalt not bear false witness. They lied on him, conjured up false witnesses against him. Listen to this. Exodus 23 and 1. Thou shalt not raise a false report. Don't build up on it. Don't fixate it. Falsehood, just to get what you want. Put not thine hand with the wicked. Saints, let's don't combine our forces with the wicked to be an unrighteous witness. Let's stand up, show up, speak up, and live up for Jesus. Exodus 23 and 7. Keep thee far from a false matter. Keep thee far from a false matter. Do no evil and no guile. Keep your hand and your feet, your eyes and your ears tuned to righteousness. And the innocent and the righteous slay thou not. This is in the commandments that God gave to the Jews. The innocent and the righteous slay thou not. Be careful how you speak against your fellow Christianers, the household of faith. Be careful. For I will not justify the wicked, saith the Lord. I will not justify the wicked. Very good lesson. Jesus' arrest with examples for us. With examples for us. So, saints, as we close this lesson on today, we must be about our Father's business. Our Father's business is walking upright, talking upright, living upright. We must complete our God-given assignment. What is your assignment? When Jesus was in the garden, he submitted to the Father's will. Whatever your assignment is for me, God, I accept it. And he concludes with the words, saints, I leave with you today. Nevertheless, submission. Nevertheless, not my will, but thy will be done. Jesus conclusively put it, inclusively put it. Nevertheless, regardless what comes upon my shoulder, what comes upon my brow, what comes toward my heart, nevertheless, Lord, thy will be done. Let's purpose in our hearts and fix our minds to go all the way. Jesus went all the way to the cross to do the will of God. Let's go all the way, Lord. Let's go all the way, saints. All the way with the Lord on our side. God bless you. I'll see you next week for Sunday school.